So they're already feeling the effects right now. So last night they received 8 to 10 inches of those outer rain bands. So and then a possible tornado, which I think has already been reported. But so they're already seeing some of those effects, and that's going to build sort of the worst case scenario for them as the storm gets closer and the rain and the rain bands get tighter. They'll continue to get that moisture, and so everything that's ahead of the storm isn't going to help the storms, the scenario.
Well, we're used of dealing with tropical storms and hurricanes, of course, being a coastal state. What is different about this storm and the amount of rain expected compared to most?
Yeah, so Debbie's going to be like the family member that won't leave. I have
an Aunt Debbie in my family. Just kidding.
So Debbie's going to lose the steering current that pushes the tropical system along, and so I think right now Debbie's moving at around 7 to 8 miles per hour, but that's going to stall out, and so even that's slow, but that's going to stall too, and so what's going to happen is you're going to have this storm sitting on the coast, where it's getting some energy from the ocean and it's dumping all that moisture up on inland. And so it's going to be a coastal event. But if you saw the governor's briefing yesterday, this is a statewide event. More of the Midlands to the coast is going to be impacted with rain. Obviously, we'll see rain here, but the rest of the state, they're gonna be on deck to go help their neighbors. And so those that, as soon as the all clear signal is given, people are going to, head down to the coastal areas. And I say that impacts from this storm may not be that far away from us. Lancaster may see 8 to 10 inches of rain, Chesterfield County, Kershaw, depending on how the rain bands come in. And as the storm sits off the coast and throws those rain bands in, the highest rain total are the unfortunate people that are in the line every time. And the folks who are not in the line every time, they say, well, that's not that bad, and, their neighbors not too far away may be flooded out. But
so again, even though this might be more of a low country issue for the majority of the folks in our state, where we are located here in the Tri-County area, you're telling us that we will get some rain, several inches of water, and to also treat this storm with respect.
Yeah. Well, so right now with current forecast, 2 to 3 inches of rain, maybe 4 in some areas, depending on where those rain bands come through. May have a tornado risk, even though it's low. We still need to be mindful of that, and really just be mindful also of the tracks aren't exact, and so a jog 30 miles to the east or west, really changes the scenario for a lot of people, and we're right on that edge. So fortunately, sort of going down 77, there's a line, and for those of us on the right side of the line, we are seeing much less rain totals forecasted, but there's a significant, if you're on the opposite side, it immediately starts seeing 6, 8, 10 pretty quickly. So it's not a coastal event, and the coast is going to see surge maybe and some of the heavier rain. Now, what is going to come into play for the coastal neighbors, once the rain that we get in the upstate starts draining towards the coast, the ocean ain't going to let all that water come into the ocean all at the same time, and so those rivers are going to back up and put the storm surge on top of that. It's going to push all that water and keep all that water in the low-lying areas. So there's a drainage issue also.
Well, Governor Henry McMaster is saying this is an animal we don't think we've seen before here in South Carolina.
So eloquently put.
Yeah.
So South Carolina's gone through this similar scenario 2015 and then several times after. With this one, it's the wind is just not a topic really. I mean it's there, but it's not. It's really explaining to people how catastrophic the rain can be. And, you can't put that into a category storm, a 3, 4, 5, whatever. But when you tell people 10, 20 inches of rain, that's kind of hard to comprehend. They can't really remember, what's that look like? Did we flood last time? And it all depends on where the rain falls, depends on who's impacted. But there's going to be a lot of people in South Carolina hurting this week. And a lot of folks are going to have to step up and help those people. There's already people from out of state, FEMA, Michigan has teams here, Alabama, Louisiana, Tennessee. They've all come in to stage to help South Carolina, and we appreciate that.
All hands on deck. Real quick, Chuck, what is this time frame looking like more specifically to us here? What can we expect the worst, and then maybe if it eases off?
Yeah, really, Thursday is going to be our day. Now, if everything maintains the same track and speed. So Thursday should be our rainy day. Shouldn't see much wind, but could have some gust and also some small risk of tornado. But I think the biggest thing with us that we need to be aware of is our ground is already wet from the rain that we needed. But and then you throw the 2, 3, 4 inches of rain on top of that and a little bit of breeze. Those trees are going to come down. The scenario. May have some street flooding. Depending on if we get a strong storm, we may see some creek rises and things like that. But our folks listening area, just be mindful of what's going on. Make sure you can receive warnings from the National Weather Service, and don't rely on social media for those warnings or your neighbor to tell you about it. Set up your phone or set up your there's weather radios you can buy. There's all kind of stuff out there that you're getting that firsthand information, so you can make mindful decisions for yourself.
Perfect.
Thursday, the first day of school within the Rock Hill and Fort Mill school districts. Perfect timing, right?
Hey, we can push it back a week. I'm sure no one will mind.
Yeah. That would be real great, to be honest with you. But at this point, I think the train has left the station. Everyone is ready to go. Chuck, is there anything people can do to prepare for flooding? We know how to prepare for other aspects of a storm, but with flooding, what can people do at their homes?
Yeah, for most people, there's not a lot to do because we rely on the stormwater system that pulls the water off the streets and puts it into the creek, and it goes away, and the magic happens. But the low-lying areas that we know floods often, avoid them. If your home floods, most people who have that scenario kind of know where they need some sandbags or things like that. I hope we don't get to that point, but really to prevent flood damage, you have to do things ahead of time, and kind of the last effort is the sandbag. But it's a hard fix for homeowners, and it's also an expensive fix. It's just not buy a smoke detector for $12. There's a lot of dirt work that has to be, drainage and all that good stuff. So, unfortunately, we don't see widespread flooding here often, thank goodness. But those who do see, if they're in a low-lying areas, they certainly need to be mindful and value their life over their things. And if they have to leave, then they have to leave, and then, people will help put them back together.